Hey everyone, welcome to Running Reimagined. For those of you that don't know, my name is Dylan Hopper, and today's episode I really wanted to create was about your reason why. Ultimately, I think this is probably one of the most important and impactful tips I could really give any runner is to really hone in and figure out their reason why. If you look at successful people across any industry, they all have very powerful, compelling whys, which drove them to do all the little things that most people don't want to do to get them to a level that most people don't get to. And so today I want you to ask yourself why you're doing what you're doing. Why are you running? Why running? Why running as a lifestyle? Why do you have the goals you have? Why do you want to hit the certain time? Why do you want to run a certain distance under a certain time? Or why do you want to run your first half marathon or 10K or 5K, marathon, whatever it is? I want you to ask yourself today, why are you doing it? Ultimately, as you're asking yourself this question and kind of these different questions, you really want to it should start to create an emotion or a feeling inside. And that's when you know you're starting to get close to or you've hit your reason why, is when you start to hit that feeling. And the reason is that emotion is power, and you want a powerful enough why that will force you to do all the little things that most people don't want to do, that are going to get you to your goal. Whatever your goal is, a 5K, a 10K, under a certain time, whether you're racing on the track and you're doing the mid-distance stuff, it needs to be powerful enough that's going to drive you to get to that level. Growing up and reflecting back on my career, I had 8 years where I literally got better every single year. And in any distance I ran, every single year I PR'd. And I really looked back on it and I analyzed and I figured out, okay, why is that? And it was because I had such a powerful why, which was my family. And then I had this other just workhorse mentality, which was instilled in me by my parents mainly, and other influences that were around me, to work as hard as I possibly could. But I didn't mind doing it because I had this powerful why and I had these goals that I wanted to hit. And then it's been really interesting the last 2 years, as I've graduated now. And in the last 2 years, I've looked back on my career and I've tried to figure out why my last 3 years of my career. So I had 8 years where I got better every single year. And then my last 3 years, all of a sudden, I literally, for 3 years, I never PR'd. In any distance I ran, in cross country and track, I didn't PR. Whether it was in the summer or it was on the road, I didn't PR in anything. And I couldn't figure out why. And I've spent the last 2 years reading tons of books trying to figure out why. I've gone to tons of seminars trying to figure out what went wrong. And that was the key, was that I was figuring out, or I was focusing on what I was doing instead of realizing that it was because I had lost my why along the way. I was focused on all the what's, what I did or what I didn't do, instead of realizing that I had lost my why my last 3 years of running. And that was the reason I didn't PR. It wasn't because of the what's, it was because of the why. And so that's my personal example. And so I truly know that your reason why is powerful, just from that experience alone. So I can attest to it. Another example, a recent book that I read was Lopez Lamang. I don't know if you know who he is or you've heard his story. If you don't, Lopez had run in the '08 Olympics for the U.S. in the 1500. He was our flag bearer. He has a super powerful story. Feel free to Google him. Read his book. The book is Running for Your Life, or Running for My Life. If you don't know his story, he was one of the lost boys of Sudan, and he was captured, literally taken, ripped out of his mother's arms after church in his village, and brought to another village to become a child soldier. And him and three boys escaped that village, and they didn't know where they were going, but they're getting the hell out of the village that was training them to be child soldiers. And they ran for 3 days through hot desert sun and then freezing cold temperatures at night. And ultimately they reached it to the border of Kenya, where they were taken to a refugee camp. And then eventually he was adopted into the U.S. and realized that he was good at running, and he had a future in it. And then you set the goal of becoming an Olympian and did it. But I mean, if you read his book and you look at his reason why drove him to just pure survive. Like, I don't know a 5 or 6 year old kid that could run on their own for for 3 days and sleep by themselves for 3 nights to live. I mean, that's amazing. And I won't talk so much about it because I think you should read the book. I think it's an unbelievable book. But yeah, ultimately his reason why, once he realized that running was his thing, was that he was going to create so much awareness. He was going to become an Olympian because it was going to create awareness that he could be able to broadcast to everyone to create support, for the lost boys. And he realized how much people in the U.S. have, and how much they're willing to give. And so if he could create enough awareness, then maybe Americans would help give support to other lost boys that didn't have the good fortune of being adopted and educated. So that's obviously a super powerful why, a crazy backstory. The thing is, though, you don't have to have that crazy backstory, or you don't have to have gone through something like that to reach the level of success of whatever your goal is in running. I think the thing that a lot of people don't realize, they look at stories like that and they feel like they have to have gone through something like that. And it's not true, because what they don't realize is that you decide how powerful your why is. Every single one of us has gone through different experiences and has had different things happen throughout our life. And so your reason why you're doing it is entirely up to you, and the power and effect you want it to have over you is entirely up to you. So ultimately, I think that once you can figure this out, if you can figure out your reason why, start asking yourself these questions today. If you can figure out what it is, the next step is to put it everywhere. And when I mean everywhere, like print it out, put it on your door so you see it every time you come in and out of your room. You can put it on the background of your phone, take a picture of it. You can have it on the background of your phone. You can set a reminder on your phone so it comes up at a certain time of day every single day. You can take a dry erase marker and go into your bathroom and write it directly on the mirror. It'll erase. Your mirror will be okay. There's so many different ways you can do it, but make sure that you see it every single day. So I hope you found this video helpful. Figure out your why. Put it everywhere so you can see it every single day. That's my tip today. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Have fun, get better, and have a great day. Thanks, guys.